Hey guys, how's it going? Twiggs here. So we're going to be checking out Imaginarium Theater and Genshin Impact since it is a new permanent combat-focused game mode. And Genshin Impact, which is what we've been clamoring for the longest time, we're going to be discussing if it is the game mode that we have been asking for the longest time, how to play it, what is it, and should you actually have to try when you play it. All things that we Genshin Impact players and just gacha game players in general would want to know going into this game mode. So, what is Imaginarium Theater? Well, it is sort of a roguelike game mode that you would expect to play out very similarly to Honkai Star Rail's simulated universe, where you get these options to pick buffs and also direct whatever path you go on throughout the game mode. But what makes Imaginarium Theater a little bit different is that you have the options of an easy mode, a normal mode, and a hard mode, which dictates how long the path or the run will be. As you can see here from the icons, you can see the path being determined by how many boss enemies you'll be fighting throughout the run. But also, what is changed is how many characters you will have to pick from whenever you do your run. If you're doing easy mode, you'll only have 10 characters to pick from, normal mode being 14 and hard mode being 18. But also the level cap of your character will also be determined, because harder would mean that you need to have characters up to level 70 and less than when it comes to normal mode and easy mode. Then on top of that, if there wasn't enough already, you have to start out with these opening characters. The opening characters, they have to be there. You can't change it. You can't do anything about it. You have to start out with these characters. And if you don't have them, as you can see, they'll even throw the trial versions at you. For example, I do not have Wanderer on my account, so they literally throw Wanderer at me. The only choice you have in this is if you want to use your version on your account of the character or the trial version. Now, before we go into the alternate cast, I need to point out one particular thing. When it comes to the alternate cast, your choice is literally dictated by the performance requirement. In this case, it is Pyro, Electro, and Anemo. That is the option of what type of element you get to pick from when it comes to your alternate cast. So as you can see here, we then go into the alternate cast menu, where you fill up the rest of your slots of characters to total up to 18. So in this case, we're picking 12 characters. Now, you might be saying, Twix, you said that we only had to pick between Pyro, Electro, and Anemo. Why is there these special guests that are clearly not of that element? Well, the reason that Baiju, Alhaitham, Sejuin, and Riosley are on this list is because they are the special guest stars. Basically, they're exceptions. They're just thrown in there because hoyoverse and the Genshin Impact team said, let's throw in 4 alternates. But the only condition is that they have to be on your account. So in this case, I don't have Sejuin and Riosley on my account, so I don't get to pick them to be my special guest stars. I only get Baiju and Alhaitham, because I do have those characters on my account. So once you fill up your roster of characters, you'll then go into a menu where basically you just confirm that this is what you're going to be running with when you do your run of Imaginarium Theater. And then you get to go to a menu where basically you decide where the hell you're going to go. You can either choose battle and normal, but there will also be other options. But in this case, when I started, I had a battle, a companion random, wondrous boon, mystery cache. So this is where I'm going to give you some advice. Your run is dictated by how many characters you have available to you. As you can see here, this is the opening cast that I was referring to. You notice how they all have 2 little lightning bolts on them? If you use one of these characters, one of those lightning bolts will go away. What do I mean by that? In my previous battle, I used Arlecchino, Kuki Shinobu, Toma,
and Farazan. Now that I used them in the previous battle, I can only use them one more time, as shown by the lightning bolts. Then when I use them again, as you can see here, I used Official, Kuki Shinobu, and Shao. That means that they will no longer be available for me to use going on further in my run. That means they are done, they are out. I have to use whatever characters I have left available to me during this run. So when I tell you that your run is dictated by how many characters you have available to you during your run, it literally is. If you ever get less than 4 characters during your run is done and it's over, and that's it. It's time for you to start over and find a way to be able to progress your run without going less than 4 characters. That is why these companion selectors is so important. They, like I said, not only give you a character that you can use during your run to help you out during battles, but it also helps extend your run. Your roster of characters is literally the most important thing during your run when playing Imaginarium Theater. The more characters you have available to you, the better your run will be, and the longer your run will be. So keep in mind, companion selectors is how you extend your run, and also another way to get characters, and this is probably the most obvious, is that after every battle, you will get another character added to your run. As in this case, I ended up getting Sino after this battle with the Dendro Chicken Boss. So now you might be asking, well, Twiggs, it is a simulated universe-like game mode. Do you get buffs and stuff while playing it? Yes, during this game mode, you can get buffs. They come from the cards called Wondrous Boon over here that cost, and this is where things are going to get a little tricky, the 60 of this purple currency. They're called flowers. I don't exactly remember the name of them, but we'll just call them the purple flowers for now. These purple flowers, you only have a set amount that you're going to be able to get, and they come from your battles. Anytime you do a battle, you get some more of the purple flowers. A normal battle gives you 80 a total, and then a more challenging battle will give you roughly 120. But as my advice to you that I've constantly kind of gone back to, the companion selectors will also cost you purple flowers. And like I told you, your run is determined by how many characters are on your team, how many are available to you on your team. So as my advice to you guys, always go for the companion selector. You know you're going to get a character, whether it be a random character or a random character of a certain element. So always go for the companion selector because your run is pretty much hinges on it. The Wondrous Boons are nice, but characters are more important than the boons. And plus, you're also going to potentially be going for the mystery caches because the mystery caches are always free, so you could potentially get anything from them. And plus, the mystery caches are so good because they could even revive a character that you already used up during your run. So, as a priority, in my opinion, besides the battles, always go for companion selector and the mystery cache. The Wondrous Boons really will not help you because all it is wasting your currency, your purple flowers, when you could be spending them on characters. Last but not least, I want to cover basically what you should expect when playing Imaginarium Theater. Keep in mind that you are basically going to always have a random ass team because you never know when you're going to get a certain character. The only thing that can potentially help you with your team is just hoping that you get the character whenever you need them, which is why the companion selectors also are so important. So don't expect to have any team synergy when it comes to playing this game. You never know what you're going to get. It's completely RNG. As you can see here, I'm just using Lenny, Bennett, Jean, and Kazuha. Completely a random ass team with 2 healers, AoE, and just Lenny. So basically,
always hold on to your damage dealers as long as you can. That way you can save them for bosses, and prioritize keeping your AoE characters when you are going to be going into a mob. But understand that this is kind of like some very loose advice because, like I said, it all hinges on RNG. So you really never know what you're going to be going into.
As you can see here, when I went into the final boss, the
climactic showdown, I held on to Arlecchino and a couple other characters with the hopes of me making sure I could actually take on the final boss without really any relative issues. So as you can see here, we went with Arlecchino, Raiden Shogun, Toma, and Chevreuse. Literally the only time I ever had a very synergistic team. Like when I say this was the only time I had a synergistic team, that was because I just sat on these characters as long as I could, and it turned out that I actually was able to pull this off. So what are my final thoughts on Imaginarium Theater?
Well, overall, I think it's a fun game mode, but also I think that it's a game mode you really can't take too seriously. Is it the big combat-focused game mode that us Genshin Impact diehard players that have been clamoring for something combat focused ever since the GameSpot article from 2.5 years ago? No, not really. It's not that. It's not that game mode, but it is kind of fun. It is interesting. It is something that you really can't compare too much to Simulated Universe from Honkai Star Rail, because overall, Genshin Impact is more of a casual game mode. In fact, I consider Imaginarium Theater just to be sort of a party game mode with a lot of money spent into it. I mean, look at the cinematic. The cinematic is actually very beautiful. But it's also kind of, in my opinion, sort of a party game mode mixed in with a combat game mode. So, like I said, it's not bad. There is some thought that you had to kind of go into Imaginarium Theater with the mindset of, okay, I need to preserve these characters as long as I can for bosses, but also your run could be potentially screwed over by just not getting the right characters at the right time. So there is a lot of RNG that could make or break your run. And as a player, you need to kind of keep that in mind. RNG can be your best friend, but RNG could also be your worst enemy. But that's my thoughts on Imaginarium Theater. Like I said, overall, just a decent game mode, nothing too spectacular. But with that being said, definitely head down to the comments down below. Let me know what you guys are thinking of Imaginarium Theater and Genshin Impact. Have you tried it out? Have you given a shit about it? Are you pretty much done with Genshin? Or are you actually really enjoying Imaginarium Theater? Are you happy with what it brings to the table? Head down to the comments and let me know. And with that being said, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. Hitting that like button helps me out, helps to get the video out there, and also hit that subscribe button. It helps to grow the community over here, helps to grow the channel. So if you can hit that like and subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I'll catch you guys later.